Why Leonor begged to go to Wales. Morning mist settles over the rolling hills of Wales, softening the stone buildings of UWC Atlantic College. Flags move gently in the coastal wind. Students cross the courtyard without ceremony, backpacks slung over shoulders, their conversations ordinary. Among them, one figure carries something less visible. Princess Leonor de Borbón y Ortiz, Princess of Asturias, heir presumptive to the throne of Spain, steps into a space deliberately chosen for distance. For modern heirs, distance is not escape, it is preparation shaped by global expectation. The decision to study in Wales was presented publicly as academic opportunity. International curriculum, cultural exchange, personal growth, all true, but none complete, because heirs do not simply choose schools. They signal strategy. At first glance, it appeared almost rebellious. Why would the future Queen of Spain request to leave the country at such a formative stage? Why step beyond palace supervision, beyond the immediate orbit of national expectation? But the deeper question reframes the narrative entirely. What if leaving Spain was not retreat, but reinforcement? This is the living thread of continuity. Spain's monarchy understands something fundamental about modern legitimacy. Authority can no longer appear insulated. It must appear informed. A sovereign shaped only by domestic structures risks narrowness. A sovereign shaped by global exposure signals adaptability. Leonor's reported insistence on Wales, her determination to attend Atlantic College, was not about teenage independence. It was about immersion in a multinational environment designed to cultivate diplomacy, negotiation, and resilience. National identity is woven into these rituals, even when they occur abroad. The Spanish crown has long balanced tradition with recalibration. After periods of public strain and institutional scrutiny, the path forward required visible modernization. An heir educated exclusively within palace-adjacent systems would invite criticism. An heir trained among peers from the United States, the United Kingdom, Canada, Australia, Germany, and beyond projects something different. It projects readiness for a world where monarchy survives only through relevance. 2 minutes into understanding this decision, the narrative shifts. She did not beg to leave Spain. She pressed for preparation. There is a difference. Distance creates perspective. It tests composure outside controlled ceremony. It exposes the heir to contradiction, debate, and ideological diversity without the shield of title. At Atlantic College, hierarchy dissolves into shared schedules and communal responsibility. That is not accidental. It is structural rehearsal for constitutional monarchy in the 21st century, authority grounded in service, not privilege. Spoken again, it no longer sounds like deviation. It sounds strategic. Spain's partners observed the choice carefully. In Washington, policymakers value leaders fluent in multilateral culture. Exposure to American classmates and global discourse signals diplomatic literacy. In London, the parallel to other European heirs educated abroad is unmistakable, preparation through shared institutional experience. Ottawa and Canberra recognize the symbolism of Commonwealth-rooted education intersecting with continental monarchy. Berlin notes the deliberate blending of tradition and internationalism. No official commentary is required. The signal travels regardless, yet something remains deliberately unspoken. What does distance cost? An heir abroad steps temporarily outside the choreography of national life. Appearances decrease. Visibility softens. The symbolic thread stretches. And stretching carries risk. Around the 8th minute of this unfolding chapter, observers quietly questioned whether the monarchy was loosening its grip on narrative control. Could time abroad dilute national connection? Could exposure to global norms reshape expectations in ways Spain might resist? The palace offered no dramatic reassurance. It did not need to. Continuity is not abstract here, it is embodied in visible presence. Even from Wales, Leonor remained present through constitutional milestones, addresses, and carefully timed appearances. Distance did not erase duty. It reframed it. At the midpoint of her education abroad, institutional stakes sharpened. Spain was navigating political fragmentation and generational shifts in trust. The monarchy could not afford miscalculation. An heir perceived as disconnected would weaken symbolic cohesion. But an heir perceived as globally competent would strengthen it. The tension lies there. Was Wales a sanctuary, or a proving ground? The answer matters because monarchy is sustained by perception. Every educational choice becomes a referendum on preparedness. Every absence becomes a test of resilience. At 14 minutes into this evolving legacy, a point of no return emerges quietly. Once Leonor stepped into that international arena, she could never again be framed solely as a domestic figure. Her identity expanded beyond Spain's borders. From that moment forward, expectations multiplied. A future queen must navigate European alliances, transatlantic relationships, economic cooperation, environmental commitments, defense coordination. These are not ceremonial abstractions. They are the ecosystem in which constitutional monarchies survive. Education abroad signals fluency in that ecosystem. Power is structural, not emotional. Duty outweighs desire, and survival of the institution is the ultimate prize. The language of begging simplifies what was, in truth, negotiation within constitutional boundaries. A father may weigh proximity and protection. A king weighs optics and endurance. An heir weighs preparation and responsibility. For modern heirs, distance is not escape, it is preparation shaped by global expectation. By 19 minutes into this broader assessment, another question emerges, one that reaches beyond Wales. Can globalized heirs maintain deep national intimacy? Can international fluency coexist with local rootedness? The Spanish crown's answer appears deliberate. After Wales, the path returns to Spain's military academies. Service branches, oaths, visible immersion in national structures. Distance, then return. Expansion, then consolidation. The pattern is not accidental. It mirrors Spain's own position within Europe and the Atlantic Alliance, sovereign, yet interdependent. In the United States, analysts interpret this arc as maturity within democratic frameworks. In the United Kingdom, it resonates with familiar strategies of shaping heirs through controlled exposure. Canada and Australia observe the balancing act between symbolic monarchy and civic equality. Germany views it as a constitutional experiment in continuity without excess. All read the same underlying message: preparation must be visible, adaptable, credible. And yet, the future holds strain. A generation raised amid digital immediacy expects transparency. Institutions move at measured pace. Bridging that gap will define Leonor's reign more than any classroom in Wales. The final resonance of this chapter settles quietly. A different path. By the last mention, it sounds less like divergence and more like inevitability. She did not leave Spain to escape its weight. She stepped outward to understand it more fully. The hills of Wales recede into memory, but the recalibration they represent remains. A sovereign shaped by distance may return with sharper clarity. Or, with perspectives that test inherited assumptions. History has not decided which. What is certain is that the choice altered trajectory. It expanded the frame through which Spain's future monarch will see the world. And as she moves forward, from international classrooms to national command, the question lingers at the edge of institutional foresight. Will distance ultimately strengthen the crown's connection to its people? Or will it redefine what connection means? The answer waits, suspended between preparation and power, in a future not yet written.